Okay, thank you to those members of the community who have joined us. We're going to reconvene our city council meeting with a roll call from our city clerk, Kathy Valdez.
The record shall reflect that all members are present.
And our city attorney, assistant city attorney, Beverly Rojas, is going to bring us out of closed session.
With regard to CS1, the City Council this evening authorized a limited waiver of the closed session privilege with regard to 536 Madigual Drive and authorized me to say that the council has received and reviewed the appraisal report for 536 Madigual Drive and has voted unanimously to proceed with the closing on August 30th, 2023 at the agreed upon sales price.
Thank you very much. And I asked for us to have an opportunity after discussing the appraisal in closed session to invite the community to come speak and be heard. And do we have any public speakers this evening that want to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none on Zoom either. Then I wanted to say a few things, and I wanted to give my colleagues on the council the opportunity. We spent a lot of time. I see we do have one member for one speaker. We'll go ahead and recognize you now, sir, if you'd like to begin. David Greenspan, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, and to everyone who's here, thank you. Thank you. I know this property has come up a couple of times. Some of you have been on the right side a couple of times over the years regarding this property. I just want to thank you guys for your vision, for your forward thinking, looking out 5-10 years. This is a steal. We all know this, and can't necessarily be quantified by a 30-year-old valuation of a house. But I appreciate you learning from this experience. Probably won't go through the same process again. And thanks for continuing to persevere by being, true to what you were trying to accomplish. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, I think that's actually a great way to start, is by saying we did learn a lot as a council and staff, and certainly we look forward to a discussion in September about how we acquire land in the future and how we have a more formal process for that and make sure that we devise new safety rails that we all agree to. I think we need to have those discussions. We all see that, and we're going to do that. But we did have the opportunity to review a qualified appraisal prior to the close of escrow. And I will just speak at this point for myself to say that ultimately I do believe that the price that we arrived at is a very fair price, given the two different valuation methods that were used, the as-is valuation, as well as the hypothetical commercial use of the property. And the reason that I think it's important that we arrived at a price that was between those two prices is because the City of Vista as an organization in past years has actually pursued through its economic development department this piece of land for use for a hotel. We invited submissions from the owner as an organization, as a city. We invited those submittals. We invited a conversation with the neighbors in that neighborhood. And what we heard in multiple conversations with the members of the community in that neighborhood is that they did not want a hotel. But the owners that currently own it, when they acquired it at the very bottom of the real estate market in 2011, they intended fully to hold it for a very long period of time until they could get a better and a higher use for the land. And they made very clear that they intended to hold the land until they achieved that purpose. And for that reason, Council members Green and O'Donnell are to be credited for reaching out and proposing the idea to take it off of the development map as a park, something that is one of the 8 public goals that we have as a city. Building more parks for our community is one of our very highest goals. And for a very long time, for probably about 6 years, has been one of our top goals, but yet we have not been very active about making that goal become reality. This was a great opportunity to achieve the vision or realize the vision of a new park in a neighborhood that is very close to a large number, thousands of apartment homes where children do not have a green space and families don't have a place to have a picnic. For me, it was very important in considering the price, the fact that if we look at available land that is available for purchase, that is vacant, that could be developed, whether it was for sale now or not. When we look at sales that have happened recently that were used by the appraisal as comparable value sales, what we see is that most of the land that's been available in larger lots has actually been around the periphery of the city, which makes a lot of sense. When we look out to the outer edges of the city, we see a lot of pieces of land that are still available for development. When we look at this piece of land, it's located almost in the exact center of the city. And when we look at the center of the city, we see very few parcels of land available for development. For that reason, and for the reason that a higher and more commercialized use had been pursued and was likely to be pursued until it became a reality, something the neighbors did not want, I think we've really struck a balance, and I think we've done something that we will be remembered for a long time for delivering a park that serves kids and families that need it. So with that, I want to invite the other members of the council to say a few thoughts if they have them. Deputy Mayor Contreras.
I want to thank the public for coming out so many times regarding this property. It's something that, I definitely was not jiving with the different proposals, from everything from the aesthetic quality to the actual, what I see is more of a negative for the community versus a big positive for the community. Now I can say with certainty that we do have the best, highest, and best public benefit coming out of this property, as it will be a park in perpetuity. And I really see it as a way to mitigate the unfortunate amount of drive-throughs that were put so close. This is definitely, going to go into our discussion of Parks Master Plan, to ensure that we are making the best use of all the parcels that we have as parks. What kind of programming can go there? Is it going to be a passive park? Is it going to have trails, right? That's going to be a conversation for the public to join in, and I invite you all to, come back, bring a friend, maybe 3, and let's have this discussion together about what we want to see in our community. But it's definitely necessary in so many different respects, from a climate crisis respect to even just quality of life, for us to continue growing our parkland and have opportunities to continue growing our urban tree canopy. So this is potentially a site where we can have those discussions in the future. But very much thankful to the public for fighting tooth and nail. And here we are on a historic day where we have unanimously agreed on this council that we want to move forward in a direction of making this parkland in perpetuity. So thank you again so much to the public. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to Councilmember Green and O'Donnell for pursuing this. And I look forward to the day that we can all enjoy this piece of land together. Maybe we can have a giant picnic to celebrate. Thanks.
Councilmember Melendez.
Awesome. I completely agree that we're going to all have to celebrate together this amazing new space that our community gets to enjoy. I am really grateful for this process being opened up through public discussion. It allowed us to have a more thoughtful and transparent process, because I think all of us can admit that we have blind spots, or we have different ways of going about a process that we learn over time what our best practices are. And so we get to continue to improve our city by adopting the best possible practices when it comes to purchasing land or developing parks or including the community. I just want to express that I want to make sure that we are following best practices as much as possible. And if there are opportunities for us to do something better, then being able to hear that critique and hear that feedback from the community, it only makes us better. And I really appreciate that. And when it comes to this purchase, I'm really excited because to me, public land is one of the most important things that the city can offer the community. Public land is essential for a free community. Not everyone has the opportunity and the wonderful privilege to own land. And there are a lot of folks in the surrounding neighborhoods that rent in apartments, and they rent in homes and townhomes and condos, and don't have much access to green spaces of their own. But when the city is able to provide a wonderful spaces for people to enjoy, and if we continue the incredible upkeep of those spaces, then we will be sure to meet the needs of our community, because we are human animals. We need beautiful nature to be around. It's important for our psychology and for our quality of life. We need green spaces. So anywhere we can have those types of spaces in our community, I'm supportive of. But we want to be strategic. We want to make sure that we're having our priorities laid out in a way that is transparent to the public. That's why I'm really excited too for the Parks Master Plan. We're going to look at all of the available green spaces and develop plans and ideas around all of our properties so that we can enhance what we already have and develop the parkland that hasn't been developed yet. So that's going to be a really exciting process for us. And I will just express that in District 3, where we do have a lot more density, we have a lot of multifamily development and less private land ownership in District 3, it's really important for us to make sure that we're looking at all of the neighborhoods in our city of Vista and identifying, what are the priorities? Who needs access to green space most urgently? The good thing is that now that we have this land, we get to hold on to it, and we get to keep it, and we get to cherish it, and we get to utilize it in the way that the community sees fit. And we also have opportunities for more public land in the future, and we should all be very excited about that. So thank you everyone for working together in this process, and thank you to our city staff for managing the negotiations and the process of purchasing this park, this land that is going to be a park. And I just want to affirm that this land will be a park in perpetuity for our community.
Thank you. And just a quick note, if there was anybody on Zoom that wanted to speak, press star 9 on your touchtone phone or use the raise your hand feature. Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, number one, thank the community for not only showing up tonight, but also sending emails. Know that your emails, your phone calls, your text messages, they are heard by all of us. They are added to the packet. We get to review all of them and see all of them. And it really helps us because there are restrictions as council members where we don't get to discuss all together until we show up. So knowing that we have 40 plus, citizens that are in support of what it is that we're doing really helps us kind of gauge where our community is at. So thank you so much to the community for just showing up and showing out. I hope that anything that is important to you, that you continue to do that. And as the mayor said, we have a Zoom feature. So if you can't ever drive down here, thank you so much to the council for making that available. I also want to thank the mayor for, kind of slowing things down. Initially, I was one of the guys that was like, let's get this park. We want the park. But I understand wanting the transparency aspect of it. And I really think that it showed the council and I kind of what we want to do moving forward. And we're going to craft policies so that in the future, there's no controversy at all and everything happens perfectly. And in the end, the appraisal that we ended up getting, I really feel like re-solidified our willingness to purchase this property and really feel like we got a good deal on a property for our community that's going to be here forever. And kind of like our other council members said, we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be used for, but we know it's not going to be a hotel. We know it's not going to be dense housing. It's going to be some type of park. What that is will be up to the community. So we definitely hope that you show up. And then also just want to thank my council. Our goal is to get more parks and more green space. There's not more land. There was a quote our mayor said from one of those, smarter guys than me that said, make sure you buy land because they're not making any more of it. And I really feel like in the time I've been elected, this is the first time we've actually put our money where our mouth is, where we found land and said, hey, we're going to just put this away for the community. doesn't benefit us anything right now. We might not even be a part of, what happens, but knowing that it's there for the community is huge. So it is a historic day for a council to buy land for a city. So thank you so much. This is fantastic. So with that, lastly, Councilmember O'Donnell, thank you so much for kind of ruffling feathers of this council and saying, hey, what are we doing over there? Let's go. So appreciate it. And then again, just city staff, such hard work went into this. And at the end of the day, it's going to benefit our citizens for years to come. And I can't wait to roll down that hill with my grandbabies at some point in time. Thank you so much.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
I am so excited about this. I just want to start by thanking the council. This was not an easy process. As we all saw, there was a flaw in the system. I'm glad that we were able to correct that flaw to make the correct decision, that we were able to get an appraisal done. At the end of the day, I'm still confident in the decision that we made. I think that we made the right decision to begin with, but it's good to have the process to make sure that that is clear and transparent. So I appreciate that we went through that. As far as the community is concerned, I appreciate every email and phone call and text message. I spared the council all the phone calls and text messages I received, but I made sure that we emailed because it does make a difference. And one of the things that I talked so much about with the residents that live over there is their desire to turn this space into something that's usable for the community. For over a decade, they have fought against condos, they've fought against hotels and all these different things. And to have an opportunity come up that we can work with the community, do what's right for the city of Vista, but also do what's right for the residents that have been fighting so hard to make this happen was just something that I was incredibly proud to be a part of. I want to thank Councilmember Green as well for trying to help, or not trying, but helping initiate this entire process. And again to the council just for being on board to make it happen. It is so critical that we look at every parcel of land we have available in Vista because we genuinely aren't going to have the opportunity to purchase a lot of pieces of land. And so when it comes up, we do need to strategically look at it and make sure that we are making the best decision. And sometimes it won't be, and we won't purchase that land. But when something like this comes up that is so clear, the benefit it's going to be for decades to come for our residents and future generations, I'm just very happy that we were able to make the correct decision on that. I have to thank the Shadle family again for being willing to work with the city on offering a discounted rate. I know that it's discounted, I'll use quotes, but I'm happy they were willing to sell the piece of land to the city and work with us to make that happen. Staff, I know that you have all gone through incredible lengths to also work with us to make sure that this happens, so I thank you all for your hard work as well. Beyond that, this is an investment in the city of Vista. It is going to be an investment for a long time. As Councilmember Melendez pointed out, as our Deputy Mayor pointed out, as the rest of the council's pointed out, this will be a park. I still received emails with the concern over housing or hotels or whatever it might be going into this space, but I want you to know that this will be a park. I will look forward to the community input that we receive and the workshops that we do to find out what your vision for it is, because we may all have our own vision, but at the end of the day, it's up to the residents what you'd like to see there and how we can make that possible. So beyond that, it's just a huge win. I'm happy to have a centrally located park that's going to be coming to our city. I can talk about this forever, but I'm grateful that we did slow down the process, get the appraisal. I do feel it was a very fair price based on the appraisals that came back, as well as the previous escrows that we were in. And I just look forward to the generations that can enjoy this to come, and I'll look forward to the future community discussion. So thank you again all for your work on this. Thank you again to the community for sharing your voice and being loud and making this happen. We may have voted on it, but you made this happen. So thank you all again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
And I would say also that I would want to direct people that are following this conversation to the public record where we've included all of the folks that have reached out. And I know I did and a number of you did also forward emails that you received to our city clerk so that she could publish those. I'm having a thought riffing off of your concern about people still not being sure about what we're doing with this. Since we're here and we're properly agendized, can we direct staff to, as soon as we close on this property, it belongs to the city, to clear the real estate sign off and to erect a sign that would be devised by staff, but that would convey the fact that a park will be coming at some point in the future and would invite participation and maybe give some clue about where to go to get some information on where they might plug in the future updates on that particular park. Would that be something we could all agree on? Deputy Mayor Contreras?
Yeah, sure. Are you making a motion?
Sure.
Okay, I'll second that. And I just want to offer, since this has been such a community process, that we had done some kind of a suggested name, polling from the community with Paula Vista Park, that maybe this would be a great way for us to also promote the park. We'll have the sign on there, and then we can also have Vistans participate in naming the park. I think that would be great. So, yeah. But I second the motion, and I think that the public should, have the ability to name the park. It's been a great multi-year discussion.
I definitely want to take input from the public, but given the number of votes that Parky McParkface received in the last contest for park naming, I certainly would want to retain some input on that. But I want to give maximum discretion to the staff to devise something that would indicate what's coming and how to plug in with it. So if everybody understands that motion being very broad direction, I don't know that we really need a vote unless you would really like a vote. Do you want to vote? Okay, anybody want to speak to the motion? Seeing none, cast your votes. That is passed unanimously. Is there any other request to speak or be heard on this agenda item? Seeing none from the public, we're adjourned. Thank you. And thank you to those of you who came out tonight.
Did you just make that?